interesting things for us is that the Tenderloins were in the festival several years with essentially scripted sketch comedy concepts. So this was a group of friends that you had your entire life. That's true for any of you that are fans of the show. They are actually friends that have been together for a really long time. And you were working in this sort of scripted comedy vein, and the show evolved into what would be considered a comedic format, which is something that we're going to talk about a lot this year because it's something that everybody is looking for. But talk to us, from the initial stages of being in this more scripted area, because I'm sure we have a lot of guests tonight that are in more of the scripted space, and I think that the notes that James is giving about development and thinking about the world applies to scripted development as well. But talk to us just sort of about that process, because I know it was a multi-year process of performing with the Tenderloins and having 1 million hits on YouTube, and then taking it into this concept that actually works on TV. So give us the Cliff Notes version.
The Cliff Notes version is, I think we just tried for years to find the right format for our comedy. And at first it was, let's create the hook has always been the same. We've done 3 different pilots, and the hook has been identical in all 3. The hook was real friends, not actors, that just set out to make each other laugh. That's always been the hook, and we've done it 3 times. So the first time we did it was with Spike TV. We sold a pilot to them and shot a scripted sketch comedy pilot, still based on real lives. And it was, in real life, Brian's a fireman, I'm a TV producer, Sal owns a bar, and Joe back then was a personal shopper. So we sold that hook to Spike. They loved the real angle of it. Shot a sketch comedy show, went pilot for Spike, didn't go to series. So then we tweaked the format and went further in the sketch range, in the sketch realm, and tried still the same hook that we're best friends, because I think that still is the magic ingredient of the show.
That's what sets it apart. That was your uniqueness.
Yeah, I think so, because there's from working in development, there's a lot of, particularly in comedy, there's a lot of comedy troupes that are pitching sketch comedy shows or comedy, any kind of genre, comedy shows about their comedy troupe, but it's all really exaggerated sketch. It's not based in any kind of reality. So non-scripted has become so popular, and networks buy non-scripted so frequently because it's just far more affordable to smaller cable networks, that I was like, so anyways, we shot a second pilot that was even further in the sketch range. It was more absurd, but still based on our real characters. And then I remember having a conversation with the guys one day. I said, guys, the industry is moving toward non-scripted. There's far more buyers, and it's far easier entry point into non-scripted for comedy than it is for scripted. There's less buyers, the budgets are higher, so it's harder to sell, everything's harder. So I said, let's swing the other way of the pendulum. Keep the same hook, best friends still going out and doing, making each other laugh, but let's go the extreme other end and come up with a reality show, a non-scripted show. And it was actually hard to convince them to do it because they're purists with comedy. No, we only want to do a scripted show. And I said, we had this conversation. I said, guys, it doesn't matter. It's still our comedy, our brand, right? And still the same hook that we keep playing again and again and again and keep selling. So I think for an independent filmmaker, an independent pilot maker, that's an important thing to think about too, is what is the hook of your show and how can you spin that 12 different ways, if it's a good hook. If it's not a good hook, trash and move on to the next idea. But how can I spin this 12 different ways to make it sellable for Lifetime, for True, for TLC, for Spike, tweak it until we get it right. And I think we just finally tweaked it and swung the opposite way and went non-scripted with it, played the same hook, and it worked. And what we did was we made the conscious choice of taking an existing format, which is a prank show, and twisting it. Right? And the twist of the show is, there's been 1 million prank shows, we all know the style of them, the format of them, but if you twist it and turn it upside down, it suddenly becomes something new, at least in the network executive's mind, it becomes something new. And the twist of our show is real friends that do these pranks, but the pranks are aimed inward. They're aimed at embarrassing the guys, not aimed at the public. And that slight twist made the show highly sellable, and we had a bidding war for it, and we ended up going with truTV.
So we're going to do one more, and then we'll open up for a few questions. Just broadly, given your range of experience, looking at the current landscape and the current marketplace in terms of what people are buying and what people are developing, what are some pieces of advice that you would give to our crowd as they go in and start developing their concepts, you know, potentially to submit to the NYTVF this year?
Good question. I think, by the way, comedic reality is having a huge upswing right now. If any of you are developing formats or shows in that category, a lot of buyers right now. And I think it's because of the success of shows like Impractical Jokers, Duck Dynasty, Honey Boo Boo. These are all comedic reality in a different way than it's been done before. So every network now is looking for comedic reality of some kind. That could be it's almost like a sitcom. So right before here, we were pitching a reality sitcom to VH1, and we just pitched it to MTV. And you can pitch the same thing to Comedy Central, to TBS, to True, to Spike. They're all looking for this. Even Lifetime will look for it on the female side, on TLC.
AMC, yeah, I mean, you have sure. Networks that are very much what we maybe perceive as solely in the scripted space, and they're evolving. And as James indicated, this is a way, maybe a slightly more tangible way to get in, as opposed to, you know, a scripted drama. Though we have NBC guaranteeing a deal for scripted drama right now, it is, if you look at who is selling drama concepts across the board, tends to be a more established TV creator, filmmaker. So we agree that comedic non-scripted is a focus.
At Real Screen last week, Real Screen is a large TV conference in DC in January. They had an entire panel on just comedic reality, which shows you kind of the momentum that the industry's going. And I think it's just an evolution of where we've been. Reality went from, you had the flipping over tables and the crazy docu-soaps, those kind of ran their course. They're still doing well, they're on TV, but they've been on the air for several years now. You've had the competitions, you've had the Dangerous Jobs, that's run its course, and they still do well, but they're long in the tooth at this point. And now things are swinging to the direction of comedic reality, sitcom. How do we take a sitcom and turn it into a non-scripted show? So I think that's the direction that networks are looking at or going in right now. As an independent producer, I think the fastest way to sell a TV show is to find great characters and go and get tape on them, lock them into a contract with you, just with you as a producer, and go out to production companies, pitch to them, and see if they'll option it and then sell it. Grab those characters if you want. I think a great opportunity is to shoot a pilot and submit it to the TV festival. We're all there looking for them, and we do compete. As a production company, we have reps that go to all the different shows, and they report back, and we analyze each one and see which one we can grab. And unfortunately, we keep, every now and then a network grabs it before we can, and we're like, damn it, we could have had it. And then taking it out wide, and or another production company will grab it before we can. But we are all looking. We're all there at the festival. We are all looking for the next idea.
We're going to open up for some questions. So, Mike.
Good evening. This is Maurice Tyson. I'm with Lynette Harrigan Media. And my question to you is specifically the evolution of the reality shows such as American Idol, when it used to be regarding the contestants, and now it's more about the judges and their backstory. I wanted to know how you feel they move forward as far as that particular show is concerned.
Well, it's interesting watching the ratings of American Idol, right there. I love that they're saying, the ratings reached a record low, but it's still 17 million viewers. It's ridiculous. I think it's, the audience gets tired of the format after a while in any show. And we go through the same thing in a much smaller scale, of course, with Impractical Jokers, where we're like, okay, how do we twist? How do we keep twisting the format, new devices into a challenge instead of the same thing? Because it's the audience grows to love and hate the format, right? And I think the issue with a show like American Idol is that the characters that they have to grow and love each season resets. So you have a brand new batch of people that you have to fall in love with all over again. So I think a smart twist of the show is making you fall in love and keep coming back for the judges who are more consistent, even though they keep replacing them, who are more consistent, or keep that as a fresh thing for the audience to latch onto, because the contestants keep changing. And when the novelty of the contestants have worn off from season to season, or you get a season that doesn't have very good contestants, and at least you've got the judges that you love to watch bicker and fight and have fun with, and they're there. So I think it's a smart evolution as they've made this. It really is an amazing show, and how long it's run and how good the ratings still are, considering how long it's been on the air. But
any other questions?
so that's the challenge of any show, is tweaking the format constantly to make sure the audience still loves the show and doesn't get bored with the format.
First of all, thanks a lot. A little too close to the speaker. We currently have, my partners and I currently have a program that probably went a little bit too far scripted and tweaking to get more reality. But as far as sharing something with a production company or even a network, you know, we've cut stuff to a short trailer, like a minute and a half. We've done more of like a teaser kind of thing. Like, what would you guys look for? It's like, hey, we love this. I guess, you know, the first few seconds or less than a minute, you probably make a judgment anyway, no matter what it is. But is it best to share 90 seconds, a 10-minute teaser trailer, a full 22-minute or whatever?
Nobody's going to watch 10 minutes. I would say 3 to 4 minutes is plenty of time. We're going to make our decision in the first minute anyway, for sure. So make sure your sales tape starts off with a pop and really grabs you with, the characters are great, or the world is so interesting that I have to watch. But let me tell you, in a pitch meeting, four bad minutes is an eternity. You want to kill yourself.
I'm sure.
But yeah, I'd say 4 or 5 minutes the absolute most. Beyond that, nobody's gonna watch it.
And are you used to more receiving something like the old-fashioned, now it's old-fashioned DVD, a hard copy, something in the mail, or would you rather get it online?
I'd rather get a link so I can share it with everybody internally. I'm gonna have to do that anyway. Our particular offices are spread over 2 different states, so I'd rather a link. And I think networks prefer that anyway too.
I think the key is, for filmmakers and storytellers, we understand the urge to want to tell a story in its entirety, but to James's point, in terms of the sale, making a great first impression and whetting somebody's appetite, but not necessarily overwhelming them, it can always be shorter. We've never seen a project that we said, oh, I wish I saw 40 more minutes of that. And if we do, that is like, you have done your job. So don't be afraid to say, I have 10 great minutes or I have 18 decent minutes. We're not going, the judgment process, you will not be considered ill for submitting something shorter. And particularly on the non-scripted side, as James said, hit the note and get out.
Play the hook. We just shot a sales tape that knock on wood, we just sold the pilot for. And it's a game show, comedic game show. And I shot the sales tape. In a game show, you have to worry about the format and what happens in each round. I throw all that shit out the window, and I just shot the hook. The hook is all that matters. It's just gonna be funny. In this particular show, it's just gonna be funny, and the hook is so unique that that's all that it took to sell the show.
Thank you, everyone, for this. This is fun. So my question is, there a lot of web series are a way that people and projects are getting noticed. So I guess it's sort of a 2-part question. One would be how do you see that as a development tool? But 2, I'm always nervous about the line of what do you want to put out there online publicly and what should you keep precious? And a lot of times it seems like the trend is put it out there, get viewers, period. And I just want to hear your take on that.
Well, I have a lot of pictures online I wish I could take down. My idiot friends keep using it in the TV show. But I would say, don't put it out if it's not good. You know, and usually you can tell if something's good or not, or hopefully you have some honest friends that'll tell you. If it's not good, don't put it out just for consistency, because it's eternal online, unfortunately. I think it's a great tool. People send me links to videos all the time, and particularly when it comes to, I find it highly useful when we're looking at video, when we're looking at a world I know nothing about. So if there's a car salesman in Tennessee, a used car salesman, and he's got a little commercial they shot online. I love that. That tells me volume. It speaks volumes about his world, and I can see it actually there. And then on the other end of the spectrum, like a produced web series is great, particularly when it comes to comedy. You know, if you've got a successful web series, for sure, that gives them great ammunition to go into a network with. And we've taken it out before. We've taken a web series, we've cut them down to a shorter one episode and brought it into TBS and pitched that before. And it works, it's great, but make sure it's good. Make sure it's good.
Just from the festival standpoint, you can review our rules. You will not be affected one way or another by having some. There is a restriction on our end in terms of
Thank you guys very much. Big round of applause for James Murray. Thank you guys very much for coming. I hope you keep coming every second Tuesday of every month.